This episode is brought to you by Extra.Fund, a Dubai-based fully doxed DeFi company. Extra has applied capital protection mechanisms and guarantees that were previously unavailable in the blockchain industry. Their guaranteed fund program is designed to compensate you if the token price drops. The fund will automatically match up to 90% of the initial purchase price. Get over to Extra.Fund for more information about how you can buy, stake, and earn profits no matter what the crypto markets are doing. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
This is a G perspective on why it's Bitcoin. Understand, people, we are going digital whether you like it or not. You have a choice. We're at an impasse. You can have your store of wealth, your store of digital wealth in a mechanism that you solely control, or you can have your digital wealth stored in a mechanism that is handed to you by the legacy banking system. Understand, the system that they hand to you, they will have levers to shut you off. Whether it be government, corporations, hackers, they will have the ability to shut you off. Don't think that's not unfathomable, because people every day in the United States walk up to terminals and swipe and they're denied access even though they have balances. So now I ask you again, because we are going digital whether you like it or not, and we are going digital very fast. Look around you. There's a whole host of people that you know, I know, you do it, I do it, that don't carry cash. There are moves in the world to eliminate cash. Of course, the United States will probably be the last, and it probably won't be for a while. But when that time comes, a significant portion of the populace will not object to it because they've already voluntarily given up cash. So we are going digital whether you like it or not. So I ask you again, do you want a digital store of value that you control, that is unconfiscatable, that is permissionless, that can cross borders, and that has not been hacked, even though it's had hundreds of millions of dollars as a honeypot to any hacker in the world for the last 10 years? Or do you want to have your store of wealth? Understand, your store of wealth, meaning the efforts from your manpower, whether it be physical or mental. We store this because we understand our efforts have value. We store this in a way that we know or feel is sound. Where is your wealth going to be stored digitally? If they hand you a system, they're going to be able to shut you off at will. We're at an impasse. This is why it is Bitcoin. We must cement a digital foundation. Later, we can build a whole host of things that will attach to that sound digital value. But if we don't create it now, we won't have the ability to come back once these other institutions have instituted their monetary system in the digital format to us. We have what we call a consensus protocol. It's open source, it's permissionless, meaning you don't have to ask anybody, can you use it? It can cross any border. It's censorless proof, meaning that if you own your private keys, can't nobody tell anybody else you can't transmit that store of wealth. That's the first reason why it's Bitcoin. And that's your first real deeper G perspective understanding on what and why it's Bitcoin. And it's now. I hope you subscribe, hit the thumbs up, check you out the next time. Peace, I'm out. Yo, what's up, what's up? This is Dr. Little John with the G Perspective. I'm gonna give a shout out to Crypto Blood. This is a follow-up to the letter to my newbies. You should have watched a video just now prior to this. It's a trip because that video was actually recorded September 23rd, 2019. The emphasis on why BTC is just as relevant then and even more so now, especially with the current political environment all around the world. We've had in the past, we've known of Julian Assange, individuals like that who have had their bank accounts seized or closed, and they found ways to circumvent that to continue doing the things that they needed to do, and primarily that was through Bitcoin. We have the present day situation that was going on in Canada with the truckers and the GoFundMe. They had funny business with that. A third party was able to dictate where the money was going to go to or where it wasn't going to go to. They also attempted to attack those individuals' bank accounts. So once again, the emphasis and the importance of Bitcoin now is even stronger today than they were in the past. For many of us, we've known this and we see this coming. Whether it's tomorrow, who knows? But the possibility of it being inevitable is very high. You've got two options. You can wait till they hand you a system, or you can at least begin to store some of your digital wealth in Bitcoin. Some of the qualities that weren't necessarily mentioned in the video that you just watched from 2019, I've learned a few things. I've gained a better understanding, cultivated a few more analogies that are relevant and kind of explain the importance and significance of, once again, Bitcoin now. Imagine this scenario. You're not happy with your financial institution, your bank. So you go in to tell them that you're not happy with the service and with the intent to close your account and have your funds moved to another institution or wherever. So now imagine there not being any money. So that means the option to go in and say, hey, close my account, give me my cash, and then you go down the street or wherever and open up a new account. Imagine there not being any cash. So that option is taken off the board. So I'm gonna be real with you. Under that circumstances, the only option you have is basically to beg somebody to send your money down the street. And what if they say no, we'll send it over here? And you say, I don't want it over there, I want it over here. And they say no, that's on some list. And what are you gonna do? And then I have to ask you, is it really your money? Once again, I'll reiterate the importance of Bitcoin now. I'd also like to emphasize on a few other characteristics that make Bitcoin what it is, its strengths, some of its characteristics, some of the things that are very important when it comes to how you store your wealth digitally. Remember, your wealth comes from your physical or mental efforts. It's an accumulation of that energy, and you're storing it with the thought of the ability to use it to spend that energy later. So being in control of that output is very important. And if somebody else has the control of that output, that's equivalent to slavery. The ultimate goal during slavery was to control the outcome or the output. So what would be the difference now if someone else, a government, corporation, a hacker, had the ability to control your output? Just something to think about. But some of these characteristics that I definitely like to emphasize on and that are very important concerning the Bitcoin protocol. And the first thing is that it's permissionless. That means you don't got to ask anybody to use, to review, to transmit. It's accessible to anyone, anywhere, with a cell phone, computer, laptop, and internet. There are even ways to transmit without those and through radio waves, but that's a whole nother subject, and that's still future tech. The second is it's open source. Open source means that the code is completely open and accessible for anybody to read and to verify whether the code will do what it says it's going to do. There's no components of the Bitcoin protocol that are hidden from anybody. Go to your bank and ask them to let you see their records and see what happened. The third is it's borderless. That means that its transactions has the ability to transcend, to cross any border, to be used and utilized anywhere where humans are functioning. No border checks, no third parties, borderless. Like mathematics. Speaking of mathematics, that's something I can talk about when it comes to Bitcoin. People always say, well, what's backing it? What is it backed by? It's backed by mathematics, the purest language on the face of this planet. The only language that no matter what actual national language you speak, we all understand mathematics. And mathematics doesn't change. No matter how much you manipulate it, it doesn't change. It doesn't adhere to man. Bitcoin is backed by mathematics. That's what we're trusting in, mathematics. The fourth is it's neutral. That means it shows no sides. It's fair. I can honestly say as a black man, Bitcoin is one of the least prejudiced or racist things that I've ever come across in my 50 plus years. It doesn't care about your economic status, your geostatus, doesn't care whether you're rich or poor, black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It's neutral. When it comes to our store of value, that output, it must be neutral in order for us to be free men and women. Free people, free humans. The fifth, it's censorship resistant, meaning that nobody can stop you from transmitting. Nobody can tell someone else to not transmit with you. The sixth is it's unconfiscatable, meaning that can't nobody take your value. But that's under certain conditions. One of the primary conditions is to take sole custody, meaning take physical control of your Bitcoin. You do that by having your seed phrases. They'll either be 12 or 24. Never showing your seed phrases to anyone. Writing down your seed phrases in several different places. Or getting these metal wallets that you can engrave or spell out the seed phrases and then you can lock them up. Those are better because they're fireproof. Those 12 or 24 words will allow you to recover the value associated with those words no matter what happens. So you could literally have millions of dollars and just need to memorize 12 or 24 words and walk across any border and then reconstruct the value associated with those words. That's also the fail-safe, so that if you lose your phone, your laptop, your computer, hard drives, hardware wallets, you can recreate the value from those words. With that ability, can any government, any thief confiscate, steal, or take your Bitcoin? The seventh is it's immutable. That means that the Bitcoin blockchain cannot be changed, will not be changed, and will always be there as long as the network exists for anybody to check and to use to create new transactions. In fact, there are people checking its immutability every day. In itself, it's constantly checking its immutability each and every time a transaction or a blocks are created, which is an accumulation of transactions that are encrypted and hashed. The next is it's verifiable, and that goes back to its immutability in the blockchain. You can anyone, anywhere, anytime can check the transactions without asking anybody's permission. The next is it's fungible, and that basically means that it can be broken down. Well, fungible actually means that all sums of its parts are equal, meaning that you can slice it and dice it and they're interchangeable with each other. There's no difference in equal portions of a Bitcoin. They're interchangeable. One of the economic strengths that it holds is there will only be 21 million ever created. That means no third parties, no governments, no corporations, no individuals can increase or decrease how many will ever be created. So we know exactly how many will be created, how many is circulating, and that prevents someone from artificially inflating Bitcoin. No other monetary system in the world is that transparent. In the last year or so, they printed over 30% of the dollar supply. Well, who had the authority to do that? People that you nor I even know, people that we've not voted into office, people that we have not given our input to, and that creates a whole host of issues when it comes to our money, our store of value. That allows individuals, rather than the free market, to determine the value of your work product. The last and one of the most important is it's decentralized. And I've spoken on that. The most decentralized network. One of the reasons that I'll always emphasize is whether Satoshi Nakamoto has passed or not, he walked away, left the value there. That means there's no head to cut off. Do you understand how important that is? Imagine if you had a beef with somebody and they knew where you lived. That's a central point of attack. Now, think in the next scenario, you had a beef with somebody and they didn't know where you lived. They didn't know where you lived. They didn't know where you worked. They didn't know any of your family members. Then the only thing they can do is dislike you. In fact, it would probably be more productive for them to focus on the people that they don't like, whom they know where they live. No central point of attack. No founder to be killed, thrown in the river. No founder to be influenced by government or anyone else. There's no CFO, no CEO, no marketing department. There's no office buildings to raid. There's no one to say cease and desist. There's no one to sue. Understand, this is where you're putting that output from your physical or mental efforts, where you're storing your digital wealth in the most decentralized networks. Once again, these are just some of the reasons why it's Bitcoin now. This is Dr. Littlejohn with a G Perspective. Peace, and I'm out.